In the previous video, we unboxed our very own NVIDIA DGX Spark. In this video, I'll show you how to set this up. Secondly, I'll take Gemma 4 and I'll run inferences on it. So without wasting any further time, let's start. Before we start with the setup process, I want to show you what are the ports that are available in DGX Spark. You have a power on off button, you have a power input source, you have 3 USB-Cs, there is an HDMI cable through which you will have to connect your DGX Spark to a display. There's an Ethernet port, then there is a Connect X7 port also called as QSFP port. This port helps you connect or stack up multiple NVIDIA DGX Sparks together. While we are discussing about the physical ports, I also wanted to mention the NVIDIA DGX Spark has a peak total system power requirement of just 240 watts, powered via a standard external 240 watt USB PD power supply. No special power setup is required. It's a simple connector that's given with the box is what you have to connect. The basic power breakdown is the GPU plus CPU consume 140 watts at peak. The remaining 100 watt covers the Connect X7, which is if you are connecting multiple DGX Sparks together, the SSD, the USB-C devices. That is how the power requirement is broken down. And the other piece that I also wanted to specify is the DGX Spark that I have currently has 4 TB of NVMe SSD fast storage. You can think of using multiple different models for different use cases, so space is not a concern with this amazing supercomputer. This is my setup. I've connected an external monitor, I've connected an HDMI cable, and I've also connected dongles for connecting wireless keyboard as well as wireless mouse. So this is my setup. Now once you power on, you get this particular screen with the NVIDIA logo. This is the first boot that's happening. It says connect your mouse. It will also prompt me to connect my keyboard. So I'll quickly go ahead and do this. Once you connect your mouse and the keyboard, it says welcome to DGX Spark. Click on get started. Click on the language. So I click on US English and I click the time zone of India. I select the default layout for the keyboard as well and I move forward. I click on accept. Here is where you will have to enter a unique username and create a password for your device. So this is what I'm doing here. I'm creating a username here and I'll type in a password here. And I click on continue. I click on continue again. Now here is where you will have to connect to your Wi-Fi network. So I have this particular Wi-Fi network. I'll enter the password. It is now joining the Wi-Fi network. And as soon as it joins, there is an update available for you. So it's preparing for the system update. This update will take time. It will restart multiple times as well, given you're booting the device for the first time. After multiple reboots, this is what appears. Click on the login screen, enter your password, and this is the home screen for your DGX Spark. Let me run the first command NVIDIA-SMI, and this is the result that I get. So given this is a unified memory, I don't see a separate GPU, but it says GB10. This is your GPU device. Let me now start with typing in Python 3. Let me also check if I can import my necessary modules. So if I say import NumPy as NP, again it's a blank installation, so we'll have to carry out the installation, which we'll come to at a later stage. The current workflow that I am using is connecting a DGX Spark to a keyboard, a mouse, and then to a display as well. What if I want to use it as a standalone server? Well, even this is possible using NVIDIA Sync. NVIDIA Sync runs on different operating systems like Windows, Mac, Ubuntu. What Sync gives you is the capability to access your NVIDIA DGX Spark from any device, be it a Windows machine, a Mac machine, or an Ubuntu machine. The other advantage of using Sync is you have access to various tools like Cursor, VS Code that you can run through your current setup and SSH into DGX Spark. I'll show you how all of this is done. So let's quickly start. The first thing that you have to do is you have to download the application for your corresponding OS. I'm currently using a MacBook, so I'll download the Mac application. Since the download is done, I'll quickly move forward and I'll carry out the installation. The pop-up here says automatically configure SSH, access web apps, etc. I'll click on agree. It mentions that Cursor and AI Workbench is not installed, so I'll go forward and quickly install them as well. So now everything is installed. I have Cursor available, I have VS Code available. Now here is where I get a pop-up. Let's get started. I have to enter the name of the device, the hostname or IP, username and password. Hostname is given in that sheet that is part of the device itself. You will see a hostname there. You will also be able to see a username and password that you've configured when you connected the device to a display. So that is where you'll have to enter the unique username and password. And you can basically name your device. If you have multiple Sparks together, then this will help you differentiate which Spark are you using at what point of time. So I'll quickly fill up these entries as well. Once I do that, it says connecting device. And that's it. I'm connected to my DGX Spark. Now when I click on terminal, I'll click allow, and now it says Bhat Bhavesh 91 at Spark-0E32. Now if I click on, so the terminal is working. Now if I say Python, it doesn't work. I have to say Python 3. And it kind of enters a Python shell as well. Now when I type in NVIDIA-SMI, it gives me the result. So technically from my device, which is a MacBook, I'm able to SSH into DGX Spark, and if I have a lot of workloads that I have to run, I'll use my MacBook as my primary device and my DGX Spark as a server, and I'll make use of the supercomputing power that I have access to. Now NVIDIA Sync does not only stop at local networks. What if I want to remotely log into my machine? Well, here is where you can integrate your DGX Spark with Tailscale, and from any part of the globe, you can basically access your DGX Spark using NVIDIA Sync. I'll quickly set this up as well. So when I click on enable Tailscale, it will kind of follow, you will get some set of instructions on your browser. So you will have to create an account. Once you create an account, you basically have to generate an authentication key. So you can give it a description and you will basically have a new key generated. You basically have to enter the authentication key here, and that's it. Now just to show you the power of NVIDIA Sync along with Tailscale that we were looking at, my laptop is connected to the internet via the hotspot that I've created on my mobile device. And now when I click on connecting device, so my Spark is connected to the Wi-Fi network and my laptop is connected to a personal hotspot. So technically, if I'm in any part of the globe, as long as I have internet, I can access my DGX Spark that's running at my house maybe, and all I have to do is use this entire setup to basically fine-tune, run LLMs, run agentic workflows for different use cases. Isn't this amazing? Let me now talk about DGX Dashboard. The DGX Spark comes with an inbuilt dashboard called as DGX Dashboard, which gives you an overview of the current system status and matrix. So for example, what is the system memory usage, what is the GPU usage, etc. All of this is something that you get access to. You can access the device from your browser by clicking on this particular link, which is localhost 11,000. So the port number is 11,000. So when you click on this, you will end up in this particular dashboard. It says Jupyter Lab On the left hand side, it gives me how much system memory is in use, what is the GPU utilization. On the right hand side is where it says Jupyter Lab. Currently it's stopped. I'll click on start and let's see what happens. As soon as I press start, it started downloading all the dependencies that are required. So this process will take some time. So let's come back once everything is up and running. So everything is up and running now. Let me click on open in browser. And here you have an instance of Jupyter Lab. I'll click on Python 3 notebook. And now when I do ls, there are files like requirement.txt, etc. I'm inside the Jupyter Lab directory. Now when I do import numpy as np, it works because all the dependencies have been installed. And now when I say import transformers, it works as well. So our basic setup with respect to running Jupyter notebooks is up and running on DGX Spark. We'll make inferences from the Gemma 4 model. So let's quickly start. Now I'm really excited running this entire setup on a personal computer where data does not go outside. I will have access to really good LLM speeds which I can run locally. So let's quickly start. So I start off by importing time, threading, torch and transformer modules. So I'll quickly run this cell. I'll define the model ID, the prompt, max tokens, sampling, temperature, etc. So I just want answers to explain what a large language model is in 2 sentences. So this is my input sentence or the input prompt. The next thing that I do is I create a function called as load model, which basically downloads the model. And if a GPU is available, it will kind of load the model into the GPU. So this is where this function comes in. The next function is where I basically count the time to first token, tokens per second that I'm getting. So there are different metrics that I want to print out, like prompt tokens, generated tokens, time to first token in milliseconds, total time that the entire response takes, decode time, tokens per second. All of this is what I've baked into this particular function. Whatever matrix are returned in the previous function, I kind of print them out using the print_matrix function. And here is where I define the main function, wherein firstly I call the load model. I pass in the prompt text and there is a function called as build prompt, which will kind of create the prompt which is accepted by the Gemma 4 model. And what I do next is I call the stream_generate function. I pass in the tokenizer, the model, the prompt text, and I'll kind of start streaming the responses as well. So this essentially is what I'm doing right now. Now once I run the main function, here is where everything starts. So it says device CUDA and it's downloaded the tokenizer, it's downloaded the model as well. So it's basically downloading the model. So I'm basically using the Gemma 4 E2B IT model, which is the instruction tuned model. Here is where it's loading the weights after downloading. And now it will start generating the response. So here is the response. You saw how quickly it was streaming. Like I couldn't even speak a word and the entire response was generated. It gives you the performance matrix as well, like prompt tokens, generated tokens, time to first token, total time, etc. The beauty of what you've just seen here is all about data privacy. Your data, be it sensitive enterprise data, never leaves the room. Essentially everything is happening on your system itself. You kind of escape the token based API pricing and the cloud fees that you have to pay for every LLM call. Nothing of that works, right? If you have a lot of confidential data, if you are worried about data privacy, then just buy this device. If you're planning to buy NVIDIA DGX Spark, I'll attach the official URL of the marketplace from where you can buy this device. Do check that out. And in the next video, stay tuned. I'll cover a lot of fine tuning. I'll cover a fine-tuning use case on NVIDIA DGX Spark. Thank you so much for watching the video.